There comes a silence that feels heavier than shouting. A silence where you already know she's gone. Not because she told you, not because there was a fight, but because her attention changed shape, and that shape no longer fits you. At first, you try to deny it. You tell yourself she's just busy, that she's tired, distracted, overwhelmed. You create excuses because the truth feels unbearable. You replay old messages just to feel that version of her again, the one who smiled through words, who called you just to hear your voice, who made you feel like you mattered. But now, she replies in fragments, cold, dry, efficient. Every message feels like you're interrupting something more important, and maybe you are. This is how it begins, not with betrayal, but with distance. She stops asking how your day went, stops noticing your tone, stops laughing at your dumb jokes that once made her cry with laughter. And somewhere inside you, your intuition whispers what your heart refuses to accept. She's already found someone else to give what used to be yours. You check her stories, her posts, her patterns. There's a new rhythm there. She's glowing again, not because of you, but because she's being seen by new eyes. And that realization hits deeper than heartbreak. It's humiliation wrapped in silence. But you don't confront her yet. You hold on to hope. You think maybe if you love harder, she'll return. Maybe if you stay consistent, if you prove you're patient, she'll remember who you are. So you wait. You send messages she barely opens. You plan conversations she no longer wants to have. You keep replaying the past while she's rehearsing her future without you. This is denial, the first stage of every emotional collapse, where your mind bargains with reality just to survive another day. You think you're fighting for love, but really, you're fighting against truth. Because love never needs convincing. It's either there or it's not. And when it's gone, no amount of effort can resurrect it. The people who leave rarely announce it. They fade first. Their presence becomes polite. Their affection becomes scheduled. And their absence becomes normal. By the time you finally ask what's wrong, the answer is already written between the lines she stopped sending. Now confusion sets in. You start to wonder what you did wrong. You analyze every argument, every small moment you might have mishandled. You question your worth, your looks, your energy. You scroll through memories trying to locate the exact second she stopped loving you. But there is no single second. It's a slow erosion, invisible, gradual, merciless. The version of you she once admired becomes invisible the moment someone else's attention makes her feel more alive. She didn't replace you because you lacked value. She replaced you because you no longer matched her emotional currency. And that's the brutal truth most men never learn. You cannot outlove someone who has already emotionally checked out. Because when a woman's heart finds new excitement, your devotion becomes background noise. You can't compete with the thrill of novelty. You can only accept that love for her has expired. That's when your mind becomes your own enemy. You stalk her online. You see fragments of her new life, the smiles, the places, the cryptic quotes. You torture yourself trying to decode her captions, hoping they're about you. But deep down, you know they're not. You know she's moved on. You just can't admit it yet. Then comes the realization, the moment denial dies. It's the day you stop checking her messages, the day you finally understand that she isn't coming back. And that realization isn't loud, it's quiet. It comes in the morning when you wake up and she's not the first thought anymore. It comes when you see her picture and your heart doesn't race, it just sinks. Because now you're grieving someone who's still alive, just living a life that no longer includes you. This realization is brutal because it forces you to see the truth about attachment. You never loved her. You loved the way you felt when she loved you. You loved who you were when her eyes saw you as enough. Now that those eyes have turned elsewhere, you're left staring at yourself. And for the first time, you realize how much of your identity depended on her validation. That's where detachment begins. Slowly, painfully, necessarily. You start reclaiming your own silence. You stop begging the past to return. You start building small rituals of recovery, gym, work, reading, stillness, not because you feel strong, but because you're tired of feeling powerless. And somewhere between the sleepless nights and the quiet mornings, a strange clarity appears. You realize she didn't destroy you. She revealed you. She exposed the parts of yourself that still needed healing, the parts that sought worth from someone else's approval. And that's the cruel gift of heartbreak. It breaks what was false in you. Now you start seeing the pattern. How many times have you chased the same illusion in different faces? How often have you mistaken comfort for connection, attention for affection, attraction for love? You begin to understand that love, in its truest form, doesn't demand your submission. It mirrors your self-respect. If you lose yourself trying to keep someone, you've already lost more than they ever could take. Acceptance doesn't arrive all at once. It comes in waves. Some days you'll feel free. Others you'll feel shattered again. Healing isn't linear, but each time you survive another wave, you become a little more grounded, a little more awake, a little more you. Then, one day, you see her again, maybe online, maybe in person, and something inside you shifts. You no longer feel anger. You no longer feel the need to prove anything. You just observe. And in that observation, there's peace. Because now you understand what you didn't before. She wasn't your destination. She was your lesson. You were never replaced. You were released. So you could finally meet the version of yourself who doesn't beg for belonging. The one who doesn't need to be chosen to feel complete. The one who understands that love is not punishment. It's purification. And in that realization, the pain starts to dissolve. Not because it's gone, but because you've learned how to carry it with grace. You stop asking, why did she leave? You start asking, why did I stay after I felt her go? That's where your strength begins, in owning your choice to remain in what was already ending. You forgive yourself for staying too long. You forgive her for leaving too soon. You forgive the universe for making you feel like love was war, when it was always meant to be peace. Now you move differently. You speak slower. You trust fewer words. You choose energy over promises. You no longer chase connection. You attract alignment. Because you've learned the difference between being wanted and being valued. Love will come again, but next time it won't be desperate. It won't be built on fear or the need to be seen. It will come from overflow, not emptiness, from power, not pursuit. And that's the quiet redemption of heartbreak. It turns the man who once begged to be understood into the man who finally understands himself. So if you're still mourning the version of her who once loved you, understand this. She's not the story anymore. You are. And the story is far from over. Because every ending is a mirror, showing you what still needs to evolve before the next beginning can truly begin. And maybe that's the point. We lose people when we start demanding they heal our wounds. Because nobody can complete a soul still bleeding from its own neglect. You can't build love from fear, or from emptiness, or from the ruins of what should have been. You can only build it from truth. And your truth is this: you were never broken.
You were just learning where not to give your power. The love you gave was real. It just wasn't meant to return the same way. But what returns now is you, whole, unchained, unapologetic, finally at peace with the idea that sometimes closure isn't about getting answers. It's about accepting that the story ended when the lesson was learned. We lose people when we start demanding they heal our wounds.